Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Welcome to Don't Do Stupid Shit to Your Body on Om Times Radio with inventor, author, engineer, and rebel Gail Lynn. Gail has over 3 decades of solving her own health mysteries and then helping thousands of others find a better quality of life through sound, light, frequency, and vibration. She has witnessed countless stories of people harming themselves, some resulting in death, just because they didn't know any better. Her hope is to educate people to be more discerning and critically think about the sources of information being researched, as well as products and modalities being used to determine if or how they are biased and misleading. Don't Do Stupid Shit is inspiring, honest, authentic, and unapologetic. Listen now to laugh and learn from Gail Lynn and her guests as they discuss how to be more discerning with healers, energy modalities, what you put into your body, and, most importantly, to listen to your body. Here is your host, Gail Lynn.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is our pilot show and I'm a nervous wreck, but we're going to do great. Anyway, I wanted to do this show because I wanted to educate people. I wanted to inspire people. And I wanted to show that people can be authentic and help and be of service. So welcome to the show. And I think I'm going to start it out with a joke just to break the ice. And I know Chris will love this because he's kind of a jokester, our producer. So what is the difference between a rectal thermometer and an oral thermometer? Answer is the taste. So hopefully you guys got a little chuckle out of that. That was a joke that my father told when we were in the veterinarian clinic and my brother was putting his dog down. Whenever my dad would see that people were sad, he would try to make them laugh. So he told the vet this joke when we were all crying and my brother was putting his dog down. So there you go. So how did the show get named is the next thing I wanted to share with you on this pilot program. So we were racking our brain trying to figure out what is the name of the show? What will actually grab people's attention? And you know, my CEO of my company said, well, we're going to call it Unlocking the Ancient Secrets to Healing. And I thought, boring. And that's the name of my book. But it just sounded so boring. And in this show, we will talk about sound and light therapy. And, you know, it just sounded so boring. So as we were racking our brain, I was so frustrated. I said, you know what? I just wish people would stop doing stupid shit to their body. Bing! I said, that's the name of the show. That's what we're going to call it. Don't do stupid shit to your body. So that's how it came up. And my CEO, she said, oh, the producer's never going to go for this. And I said, well, just ask. And it was great. So I'm going to have guests on when we're actually doing the rest of the shows, but I was kind of instructed to go solo today, which made me really nervous because I'm talking to myself and myself on the computer, which is always very odd. So what I want to talk about today is what I've come up with are the 5 main causes of disease. So we have all these diseases, all these ailments that are named out there. We name everything. But there's always a root cause for everything. So what I've come up with over the last 15 years of research is that most diseases will boil down to 5 main reasons. And those are stress, inflammation, heavy metals, immune issues, and a fatty liver. So I'm going to go through those on the show today and kind of give you some examples and share some stupid shit that I've done to my body because we're going to laugh at ourselves, right? It's funny, even though it's serious, but we can't be too serious because how fun is that? It's not. So stress can come in the form of chest pains, headaches, food cravings, insomnia, aches and pains, upset stomach, low libido, mood swings, and all the time just being edgy. How many of you have some of those symptoms out there? I'm sure you do. So the number one cause of disease is actually stress. And they say that 90% of all doctor visits are actually the root cause of stress. You guys surprised? Probably not. I was reading an article in US News, and they said 58% of men and women are prescribed or have been prescribed antidepressants. 58%, you guys, that's almost 60% of people who are actually being prescribed antidepressants, probably because of the stress. So who does not have stress in their life? Okay, I can't raise my hand because I have a ton of stress. It's how we handle it, but everything is stressful. So this morning, I'm trying to get prepared for this show, and I'm a nervous wreck, and my phone's dinging and danging and ringing and binging, and okay, so how do you deal with that? So I turned it on Do Not Disturb, but the electronics going off all day, tracking everything from our health. And we actually have these Fitbits we wear and Oura rings, and we're actually counting on other technologies or people to tell us how we're feeling. Do we not know how we're feeling? Can we not tune into our own bodies and see how we're feeling? Do we really need somebody else or some other technology to tell us how we're feeling? So I ask you that. I ask you guys to just really tune into yourselves and see where are the stresses in your life. I actually had a client whose daughter brought her in, and I noticed that the mom was wearing a Fitbit, and she said, my mom just has so much anxiety. So she brought her into our center, and I use a modality called the harmonic egg. It reboots the autonomic nervous system, kind of brings the body back into balance so it can heal naturally. And God, source, creator, universe gave us perfect bodies, and they can heal themselves when we're putting our bodies in the right environment. So I just intuitively just happened to glance and saw this Fitbit, and I asked her to take it off for her session. And when she came out, I had this intuitive hit to tell her, don't put it back on, leave it off for 5 to 7 days while you're integrating the harmonic egg session. And I got a call from her daughter a few days later, and she said, that was the anxiety. She was so worried about that Fitbit. What was it telling her? How is she feeling? How did she sleep? What is her blood pressure? How many steps has she taken? And so sometimes these technologies can stress us out more than they're really worth, right? So, think about all these things and think about all the noise we have around us and how many things that we're being distracted by that's keeping us from tuning into our own selves and all the stress that that's causing. Relationships. I'm running a business, you guys. Oh no. This is a question for you. Does it take the average person to start a business? The answer? The average person doesn't start a business. It is stressful. Being an entrepreneur is very stressful, but I love it. And it's an adrenaline rush for me. So, I got this, the question came about because when I was in a karate program, and the karate master, the Sifu, was asked, how long does it take the average person to get a black belt? And the answer was, the average person does not get a black belt. And it is so true. It's very hard. I need to take a little sip of water there. So, stress in our lives. What do you do for stress? What do you do for yourself? And how do you take time for you? I'll give you a couple of examples that I do. Excuse me. So I love, I'm sorry. Sorry. I love 60s and 70s music. Absolutely love it. I don't know at any other time in history that music I thought was so loving and so beautiful and actually meant something. So I will just take my little Sirius satellite app and I turn on 60s or 70s music, and I can immediately chill out. I can go to outside to see my horse, and just the smell of her and just loving on her It will just immediately ground me and bring me back to being present. I love being creative and I love learning. And sometimes the admin stuff of the business and the taxes and the 940s and the 941s and the unemployment and the, oh my gosh, the RTD tax and whatnot, it just gets too stressful. So listen to some 60s or 70s music. I actually bought a ranch so that I could go out and see my horse anytime, any place, anywhere, and just walk out to the door and just be with her. And sitting in silence. How many of you guys sit in silence? Can anybody raise their hand? If you do harmonic egg sessions, you're required to do 10 minutes of silence at the end. And it's just to help you integrate. It's to really help you to feel into your own body and to just sit without noise. We have so much noise pollution, and it's just so stressful. We get thrown into fight or flight in our nervous system, and sometimes we just don't know how to get out of that. So one of the best ways to improve your intuition and to tune into your God energy, your source energy, the universal energy, is to sit in silence and just be in silence. It is so beautiful, so wonderful. So the second thing is inflammation, one of the 5 reasons that is the root cause for disease. So things like arthritis and headaches, fevers, chills, fatigue, muscle stiffness, tumors, pain, numbness, tingling. Okay, how many of you have that? So stress causes inflammation. And so look at that. Inflammation, the root cause might actually be stress. So here we go back to stress. So how many of you put a laptop on your lap? So here's me telling you one of the stupid things that I've done to my body. I bought this really super awesome couch that was so comfortable. And I thought, oh, this is so nice after work. I'm just going to sit on this couch and I'm going to put my laptop on my lap and I'm just going to finish my work. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to chill out. And I realized how stupid that was after a while. So I have the whole story on my website at harmonicegg.com. In my blog page, I have a lot of stories about the stupid shit that I've done to my body. So basically what happens is when you have a laptop on your lap, you're actually getting and absorbing that radiation. So things like that are related to EMFs and having a laptop or an iPad or, just always having your phone near your organs or putting your phone in your pocket near your heart. Those are things that you should pay attention to because I think you'll find that there's some symptoms you're seeing. I have women that have come to me with hip problems, hip pain, and it's in the hip where they carry their phone. I have clients that have come to me with numbness problems in their legs, the front part of their legs, in the same area where they carry their phone in their front pocket. So really pay attention to that. But things that can cause, EMF inflammation and what it can result in is cancers, arthritis, migraine headaches, allergies. Think about it. EMFs can cause allergies, depression, liver damage, high blood pressure, and hormone imbalance. You can search anything you want on the internet, and it's quite comical. You can search the benefits of EMFs or the dangers of EMFs, and you'll find whatever answer you're looking for. So that's why I always tell people to look at these articles and check in to see if they're biased, because who's actually writing the article. So I've actually found articles that say there's dangers to drinking water, right? So it just makes me laugh, everything that we can find on the internet to prove or disprove what we believe in. But I also have clients that had cervical cancer, and I know this person has a laptop on her lap all the time. And so when I went and got my blood work done, I was very much in shock when the doctors were kind of telling me that the numbers looked like I had leukemia. Leukemia? What? I felt great. And so I was really just struggling. I take care of myself. I eat organic. I exercise. I do yoga. Try to stay grounded. Try to stay present. How could this be? So after I tuned into my intuition and my guides, and I remember waking up one morning, and that's when I get a lot of my information is just waking up in that hypnagogic kind of state where you're just waking up and you're still in that place of tuning into the and God. And a word came into my head and it said laptop. And I said, oh, that's some stupid shit that I was doing, having this laptop on my lap for months in the evenings, just watching TV and just unwinding. And what it did is it resulted in a low white blood cell count plus a lot of other numbers that were off. And it looked like leukemia. Now, what if I had gone in and just said, oh my gosh, oh, thanks for the chat. I see people writing in. So what if I were to go to the doctor and start getting treated for leukemia? So it's really important that we really tune into our bodies. And, I just want to educate everybody. I want to inspire you to laugh at yourself and to really tune into your body and be present. The next root cause of a lot of illness is a lot of heavy metals. I'm getting an error message here. Hopefully we're okay. So the Detroit area has a lot of heavy metals. I have clients who actually moved to the Las Vegas area. Do you think the lights that are blasting 24/7 in the Las Vegas area are not doing anything to the environment? Really? So she ended up with a lupus diagnosis after a year of being there and then moved back to Colorado. And I believe that they're off-gassing a lot of mercury that's causing a lot of disease. So we really have to look at where do we, okay, so my producer's saying my sound and my visual is sticking a little, but we're good. Thank you, Chris. So yeah, everything looks good on my end. So heavy metals, so low body temperature, Parkinson's disease, immune system issues, not autoimmune, but it could be heavy metals. We have skin lesions, hair loss, cancer if it's viral. When I first was talking to a cancer doctor, I thought cancer was a viral load in the body. And I remember her saying to me, well, why didn't the body fight off that virus? And it was really a mind-blowing question for me, because it's true. Why didn't the body fight off the virus? And what she had tested over 28 years of being a cancer doctor was that it was a root cause of heavy metals. And each organ would have a different metal that would be associated with it when she would test the metals. So if it had liver cancer or brain cancer, it would be different heavy metals. So really interesting. But hair loss, the birth defects. My stepdaughter was actually born from my ex-husband, was born with cyclic neutropenia. And after I started researching a lot, because I'm a researcher, I'm a private investigator, and I love to try to figure out the root causes of things. So that's where my research has led me. And I remember when I started studying this, and she had cyclic neutropenia. Okay, I'm just looking at the chats here. I was researching it and found out that it was from heavy metal mercury. Well, how did she get heavy metal mercury when she was first born? And so that stuff passes through the placenta barrier from the mother, and her mother had a mouthful of amalgam fillings and a mouthful of, the silver fillings that has nickel, lead, tin, and mercury. And so she was born with cyclic neutropenia, and because of the heavy metals pass through the placenta barrier. So I tell people, be so careful. We need to detox. There's books called Detox or Die. There's so many different books on the marketplace today. that you can read about detoxing. And we're just in an environment now that is just so full of pollutions, toxins, and heavy metals. And I'll tell you my story about heavy metals. I did a heavy metal test using doctors' data. So doctors' data, after working with several medical doctors, was the go-to test for heavy metals. So the researcher that I am, I thought, well, let me send in a hair sample the same day I do a urine challenge, and let me see what that looks like. Completely different results. Well, how can that be? So I think there's pollution in our hair that might be picking up in a heavy metal test. But I believe in what the doctor was telling me was that a urine challenge is the most accurate way to do heavy metal testing. So what I loved about it was you test all these heavy metals and then it'll show you what's going on in your body. Again, the hair, it was not accurate in my opinion. There might be some additional tests that I didn't try, but when I did the side-by-side comparison, the hair analysis wasn't as accurate as the urine challenge for me. So I had lead, mercury, nickel, cadmium, thallium, which I knew that I picked up a lot of that working in the automotive industry. And it just really made me realize a lot of the ailments that I had. My hair was falling out, and that was the biggest sign that I realized I had something going on, and did a lot of testing for it. So I went to a doctor named Dr. Anglin, who's actually going to be on the show soon. So he's a osteopathic doctor, and he's the one that actually told me about these BioRay heavy metal drops. And they're called NDF, Natural Detox Formula. And you want to be really careful with them. They're very strong, but it's a concentration of cilantro and spirulina, chlorella. Those kind of greens can pull heavy metals out of the body. So it's brilliant. It's a brilliant product. And so I remember the first time I took one drop, not one dropper full, one drop. My cheeks got all flush. It was already working. It was really fast acting. 2 weeks on those drops. And hey, that's yes, this urine versus hair for heavy metals. Yes, amazing. So thanks for writing in. So 2 weeks on these drops, and I did the urine challenge again, and my levels all went to like almost nothing. It blew my mind. My hair stopped falling out was the main thing, for me. I mean, you guys can see I have a lot of hair. So unless you're just listening to it, then you can't see it. But it was so crazy. I'm so grateful for Dr. Anglin and just the introduction to that information. And then the medical doctor, Dr. Grossman, who told me about the urine challenge being much more accurate for the heavy metals. But there's always an issue with everything. And I'll tell you a story about a gentleman. But the other stupid thing I did to my body recently, I don't know if you guys ever had a Marie Callender's pot pie. But I got on a kick for them and started eating a couple of months probably, and my hair started falling out again. But I didn't put two and two together right away. But it was actually it appears there's a lot of heavy metals in the Marie Callender's pot pies. So pointing at myself, that's what stupid shit I did to my body. So, and my sister, she laughed. She's like, I can't believe you were eating Marie Callender's pot pies. I'm like, it's comfort food from my childhood. Sometimes we do that when we have a lot of stress. But I had a client that came in with a cobalt and chromium hip replacement. Very young guy that needed a hip replacement. He was a ski instructor. A sweet, sweet, sweet soul. And we did the doctor's data heavy metal test. And, I didn't put two and two together. It tests thallium, cadmium, nickel, lead, mercury, tin, so many different metals. So we did this test with him and nothing showed up. And I said, I know you have heavy metals. I didn't know about the cobalt and chromium hip. So let me just tell you, he got a Parkinson's diagnosis. And he would shake and he couldn't control some of his, bodily functions, with the arms and the legs. And he would come in, and it was so frustrating for me because it took me probably another year, no joke, to realize, after he revealed to me he had a cobalt and chromium hip, I realized that on the doctor's data test, they did not test for cobalt or chromium. So I finally put 2 and 2 together. And if you look up cobalt poisoning, you will see that it does have the same symptoms as Parkinson's. Very crazy. So we need to be consistently detoxing. And this isn't to bring anybody into fear, but just to bring into awareness that our bodies are these amazing instruments, but we have to put them into the right environment so that we can heal ourselves naturally, because our bodies can heal naturally. You guys know if you cut yourself, it's going to heal. You know, if you break a bone, it's going to heal. It's going to, maybe if it's some kind of a gnarly fracture, you've got to go to the doctor and get it set, but you know it's going to heal. So when have we been hoodwinked for so long, or brainwashed? Hoodwinked is my Australian friend Roger Anthony, rest in peace, used to use the word hoodwinked. When were we so hoodwinked to believe that we can't heal from Parkinson's or allergies or insomnia or anything like that? Right? We can. Our bodies can heal. We just got to put them in the right environment. I'm 52 years old now. I have never felt better in my entire life. And I made a lot of dietary changes in my 20s. This isn't about, fear. It's about you guys being educated to know how your body works, tuning into your body, and really feeling into what is going on, and then doing your research. And Lisa Nichols, I used to listen to her. She was been on stage at some events that I've been to, but she always used to say fear is a very bad perfume to wear. I thought that was cute. So see, I'm telling these jokes, but I can't tell if anybody's laughing at them. So my friend Roger Anthony, I'll go back to that. So, sometimes when we get a diagnosis, Chris says he's laughing. I'm good. Thank you, Chris. We get a cancer diagnosis. You guys are going to jump to fear. It's just going to happen. It's human nature. But my friend Roger Anthony used to have a company called Crocodiles, Not Water Lilies. And he had a character named Rampa, R-O-M-P-A. And he used to teach that people go right into action. So you get something that throws you into a fear. Instead of sitting, what Rampa stands for is to relax, observe, manage, patience, and then act. R-O-M-P-A. Relax into the situation. Observe what's going on. Manage the situation. Have some patience, and then go to act. And that is going to be something, if you guys remember that will take you far into, just this health talk, but far into situations in your life where fear comes up and you just go to act. It's better to just do what Rampa does, is what Roger used to say. So really fun stuff. So where do heavy metals come from? That's a great question. Okay, and before I get to the answer, we're going to take a break then. Thanks, Chris.
Om Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs,
and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Welcome back. Oh my gosh, this sounds so funny. This is my first radio show, you guys. So hopefully I'm doing okay. But yeah, it's hilarious. Welcome back, everybody. So what we were talking about was, where do we get heavy metals from? Earlier in the show, I'm talking about how you can pick them up from your environment, where you grew up, as well as pesticides. So people who live on farms, they pick up a lot of pesticides and DDT. I've had clients with old DDT in their liver, and they were 12 years old. And it was a nurse that came into my location in Denver, and she brought her daughter in, and she said her daughter had terrible, terrible eczema. And I said, oh my gosh, she said, you're my last resort. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a lot of pressure to put on me, that I'm her last resort to help her daughter, who just itches and scratches and has eczema psoriasis so bad. So I said, you know what, God, I need some help here, because if this lady's putting all this on me to help your daughter, I don't know what's happening. And I remember getting a message that says DDT, and I thought, that's weird, because DDT, I don't think they use it anymore. Maybe they do. And I asked the lady where she grew up, and she grew up in Kansas. And she said she remembers being sprayed with, DDT. It would just be in the air. And I said, I think that's what's going on with your daughter. It's just old DDT in the liver. And she, like I said, she was a nurse, and she said that makes sense. And just after a few sessions detoxing her daughter's body, the eczema and psoriasis cleared up. So I will tell you that a lot of eczema psoriasis will be from the liver. It'll be sitting in the liver and just healing your liver, which we'll get to that topic in a minute here. So where do heavy metals come from? I digress. Tattoos. How many of you guys have tattoos? I have 2 of them. And, there can be heavy metals in the, so it's just things that we don't think about. If you're a police officer and you have to shoot and you have to practice shooting, there's heavy metals there. Whey proteins. Had you guys ever known that a lot of our foods, like Marie Callender's pot pies, can be full of heavy metals? So it's really important to detox. The metal hip, the chromium and cobalt hip, heavy metals. As those parts are rubbing together, it's off-gassing metals into the body. The amalgam fillings that you have that are nickel, lead, mercury, tin, those, every time you chew, they're going to off-gas. And I've had clients that have come in and said, they got a Parkinson's diagnosis, and their mouth is full of heavy metals from the amalgam fillings. But this is the thing. They said, I've had these my whole life, Gail. How can they be causing me a problem now? Well, at the age of 75, you don't detox as well as you did when you were 20. So those things build up, and I kind of liken it to a glass of water as it's filling up. And then all of a sudden it's spilled over. And that's when you start to see the symptoms. You have to detox, get that glass back down, and you'll start to see some of your symptoms going away. Deodorants, popular deodorants have aluminum in them. I mentioned whey proteins. I have a very dear friend that used to work out like a crazy person and do karate and always going to the gym and drinking these whey proteins like you're going out of style. He would have one for breakfast, one for lunch, one for dinner. ended up with a Parkinson's diagnosis, and just broke my heart. He lives in Las Vegas now, and I was in Vegas a couple years ago, and I saw him, and this vibrant 6'4", 260-pound guy was debilitated. And I thought living in Vegas probably isn't the best thing for him. And he was just taking all the Parkinson's drugs. He didn't know what else to do. I tried to guide him, but who am I? I'm not a doctor. So he just said, well, I'm doing what the doctors are telling me. But he was shaking. His mouth was chattering, just uncontrollable tremors. And it just broke my heart. Just absolutely broke my heart to see that. I think if he would have gotten things under control and done some heavy metal detoxing, back when, maybe he wouldn't be where he is at this moment in his life. It's very sad. And I just spoke to an old client recently on the phone who had a Parkinson's diagnosis. And they're doing the deep brain surgery. It's called DBS now for him. But it just broke my heart because he called me and I answered the phone. I was like, hello, hello, hello. I don't have time for that, right? So I just hang up. And so calls back again. I'm like, hello, hello. Well, he was so slow in being able to think what he wanted to say and then get it out of his mouth. That's why he didn't, and I don't have any patience. It's like, I said hello 3 times. I'm hanging up. So, but it just broke my heart to hear him slurring his speech, could not formulate what he wanted to say. But he said that the doctors are telling him that they're working. But what a horrible quality of life. And he just so bad for his wife, who is basically the caretaker. And sometimes the caretakers need more care than the people they're caring for. So we have to take care of ourselves. Well, nobody else is going to do it, right? More ways that you can get heavy metals in the body. Vaccines. So they have Thermosol that they said that they've actually taken it out in 2001, but they market it under a trade name called Mertholate. And a lot of people think that it's, mercury or some kind of type of mercury. So who knows? There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, as you guys all know. So there was a time when people thought it was healthy to drink mercury. Does anybody in the audience remember that? And do you guys know that's where the Mad Hatter term came from? See, look at this. Did you know? So hopefully on every one of my shows, you guys are going to learn something. I would love for people to say, you know what? Every time I listen to one of Gail's shows, I learn something. That'd be great. So the Mad Hatter, they used to use mercury to form the hats. And then the people that worked on the hats would go mad. So they called them the Mad Hatters. And they usually knew when they went into the plant to work, the hat plant, that they weren't going to be coming out. Like when they were done, they were going to be mad. And I think most of them only lived to be like their mid-50s. And who knows how long they worked there. But that's where the Mad Hatter term came from. So did you know? So there's another video that I was watching recently about another way to get heavy metals is through the capsules. If you guys can believe this or not, the capsules of the medicines or supplements you take. And there's a lady, her name's Catherine Edwards. She has a YouTube interview with Carolyn Mansfield where they discuss how she put the capsules in water and dissolved them and then put a magnet on the edge of the glass, and the magnet was able to show that there were particles of heavy metals in the dissolved capsule. So, we don't know what kind of heavy metals we're putting into our bodies. It's crazy. So I just want you guys just to know that there's so many ways that you can research things online. So for me, I just love researching. I'm such a nerd, such a dork, really. And so when somebody would come into the center and say, I have Parkinson's, that's how we found out that it was heavy metals. a lot of the times it's also, the tremors can be a depletion of B12 as well. But it's really just interesting how you can really research and do these deep dives, but be really careful when you find articles that someone's not just trying to sell you something. There in this article or this YouTube video from Catherine Edwards, they are promoting a product. So just be careful, you know, what benefit do they have in the product? Just like you can research the benefits of marijuana. A lot of times the articles are by people who are making money off marijuana. So just be really careful with anything that you read online, anything you hear. Use your discernment, use intuition, tune into, all that stuff. So the next one is immune issues. So we have people that have autoimmune. If any of you out there know the medical medium, he first made sense to me when he said, God gave us perfect bodies. They would never attack themselves. And that was a huge aha moment for me, for my clients. And as I started researching the clients with autoimmune disease, they had Epstein-Barr or Lyme disease or heavy metals or a lot of stress, trauma, and that caused the inflammation in their body. So it always boiled down for me. And there's going to be some people out there that are not going to be happy with hearing this. They probably won't be happy with me, but really tune into it, because maybe there's some possibilities to heal from autoimmune disease. So I know that I followed his work for a very long time. I really enjoyed his work, but I felt like he was about 80% accurate in some of the stuff that he said. So never listen to just one person, never study just one person. Go out and look at what other people are saying and take all those golden nuggets, and you use your discernment, use your intuition, and make some calls for yourself, make the judgment calls for yourself. Use those great pieces of information, but keep researching and listen to at least 3 different people to see, what you decide is your own truth. And my truths have definitely changed over the years. They've changed a lot. I used to tell people, drink a gallon of water a day. That's so healthy. And then I realized that you're peeing out a lot of your minerals. So a gallon of water a day is a little bit too much, because you are peeing out a lot of those good minerals. So I drink about 90 ounces of water a day now, and I replenish with electrolytes. Love my electrolytes, and just replenishing the minerals as I'm flushing out the toxins. So, and then Chris, just let me know, keep me posted on, because I could yap for 30 hours and I have 9 pages of notes, and I'm probably on page 5, but I kind of knew that. So the last root cause of disease is fatty liver. Have you seen a lot of people? Perfect. Have you seen a lot of people recently with liver disease, and they never took a drink of alcohol in their life? There's people being diagnosed now with cirrhosis of the liver who never had a single drop of alcohol in their life. So what is going on with that? Fatty liver, high blood pressure, inability to lose weight, eczema, psoriasis, like I talked about with the little girl, insomnia, heart palpitations, high cholesterol, varicose veins, EMF sensitivity. It is a very, very large organ in our body that has a lot of functions. And these functions are so, so, so important to detoxing and really stepping into your healing ability. So my boyfriend has high blood pressure, but he has drank, his whole life. Okay, you guys got to chuckle out of that, I hope. And I think there's probably a lot going on with his liver, but when you look at his numbers, the doctor will tell him his numbers are all in normal ranges. But I noticed there's some high normals, and some of the medical doctors that I've spoken to over the years, they said, once you have your livers out of whack, it's kind of too late. You really want to be working on your liver before the numbers are out of whack. Your BUN, your AST, your ALT, your the different liver enzymes and the numbers. So yes, let's see this extended belly from fatty liver. Yeah, so definitely that belly fat, but it also can be cortisol and stress levels. But I have a webinar on my website, harmonicegag.com. It's the liver webinar, because I had so many clients that were coming in that could not lose weight. And so I went on my little research, private investigator, expose, and found out that the fatty liver, this lady in salads, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, she couldn't lose a lick of weight. So we put her on a liver regimen, and I don't promote liver cleanses. You want to support the liver. So supporting the liver, hydration, good glucose, which is like a red apple, oxygen, and you can get oxygen from the red apples. You can get oxygen from fruits for your liver, and then also mineral salts or electrolytes. You can get electrolytes from cucumbers, from celery, so from vegetables. But these are the things that your liver is going to be so happy to thank you, Chris, to have you put into your body. Okay, so very, very, very important organ in your body that you want to make sure that you're supporting. And it'll really make a huge difference if you can support the body. Now, what I want to say about when you eat an apple, please don't eat it with peanut butter or cheese. You want to eat the apple and give your liver the opportunity to utilize that glucose and oxygen for the liver. If you were to eat it with peanut butter or cheese, which is delicious, you guys, I love it, but then your liver is going right back to work. It doesn't have a chance to take a break. It's got to go right back to work and process that fat. So just at least do the apple 20 minutes before you're going to eat any fatty foods, and let your liver have a great time enjoying that healing for at least 20 minutes after. So hydration, we talked about hydration. So I think, 60 to 90 ounces of water a day. If you're taking electrolytes, you're eating right. If you eat a lot of foods that are raw, you're getting hydration from that. But if you're only eating cooked foods, you want to make sure you're going more towards the 90 ounces of water a day for the hydration. So definitely keep that in mind. That webinar is about 40 minutes long on my website. It's super informational. And I'll also talk about what color is good for the liver, what instruments are good for the liver. And that's really where my area of expertise is sound and light therapy. So I'm the inventor of this crazy large wooden egg. It's called the harmonic egg. And it helps you to reset your nervous system, helps you to bring your body back into balance. It helps you to put your body into an environment where you are using your God-given ability to heal naturally. It's so amazing. But flute music for the liver, so soothing for the flute, and orange light. So the website, again, is harmonicegag.com. Is somebody saying repeat the website? Thank you. So, when I was in my 20s, I was very angry at the world, very angry for, I don't even know why I was angry. I was just angry. So every time I would go to a Chinese medicine doctor, this is going to be a very bad interpretation, but he would say, liver fire. Always a hot liver, always heated, always angry. So we can look at our organs of our body and we can see where we're storing the emotion. If you have a lot of pain in your right side, kind of under your rib cage, could be some liver issues. That's the emotion of anger. If you have a lot of back pain right around where your kidneys are, that's the emotion of fear. You have a lot of lung issues, that's the emotion of grief. So each organ, the pancreas is worry, but let me tell you the story. I know Chris is telling me I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. But my father and my mother in 2017 were both medical error deaths. I think they are now saying about 250,000 to 444,000, and that's a big range of people die every year from medical errors. My mom and dad were both medical deaths. My dad worked in an asbestos plant for 30 years, and I'm positive he had mesothelioma, but up in the Detroit area, the Uniontown, they didn't diagnose him properly. They diagnosed him with COPD. They put him on a lot of different meds for COPD when in fact I believe he really had lung cancer or mesothelioma. But my dad stored a lot of grief. He stored a lot of grief in his lungs. And that's, sometimes when clients would come into my center and say, I have liver problems. I'm like, what are you so angry about? And they would think I was psychic. And I'm not. They just thought, how would you know that? If they came in with lung problems, I would ask them, what grief are you holding on to? Because this is where we store these emotions. So my dad ended up passing away very miserable. 1 inhaler, 2 inhalers, 3 inhalers, 4 inhalers, oxygen, antidepressants, pain medicine, then hospice care. He had a horrible last 4 to 5 years of his life because they didn't diagnose him properly. It was very, very sad. 11 weeks later, my mom was rushed to the hospital and had a brain aneurysm and died. My mom was on a drug called Maxalt XD, and it's for migraines. My mom really didn't have migraines. She had bad headaches. And so she would take these pills, and really the limit for them is supposed to be 15 a month, but the doctors were prescribing her, or doctor, 20 to 30 a month. And it expands and contracts the blood vessels in the brain. And y'all know that, that's my Texas accent. Y'all know you can only pull a rubber band and it bounces back so many times before it snaps, right? So I think over the years of her taking those pills and overtaking them for headaches and not migraines, that really caused the aneurysm. Who really knows? But intuitively, that's really what I believe. I believe it was a medical error death. So the question comes in, autoimmune disease, which organ and emotion? So I would say that there's really not an organ or emotion associated with autoimmune disease. It's more about an emotion of self-sabotage. And please don't get mad at me if you're listening to this. Please just sit with that information and look at how you might be self-sabotaging yourself, how you maybe don't love yourself, and how you can have more self-love, and how you can learn to love yourself more. There's a great tapper. I don't know if he invented tapping, but if you guys know the EFT, where you tap on the different parts of your face and you tap, underneath your arm. Brad Yates, Yates. If you do Brad Yates, tapping for self-love, tapping to love yourself, tapping for stress or whatever emotion you're having. It's really nice. You can follow along. It's a brilliant resource for you to help you. So I've got my 3-minute warning. This is so weird, and I'm a control freak anyway, so this is quite hilarious. So just know that you guys can take responsibility for your own health. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Oh yeah, so it makes about the autoimmune disease. Thank you. Thank you for not yelling at me for saying that. You can take responsibility for your own health. Tune into your body. You can really listen to your body. When you research something online, you can research the benefit, and you can research the dangers of magnesium or water or eggs, and then just really look at the biased nature of the article. So you're really knowing, and tuning into if that information resonates with you or not. Here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm all nervous. 2 minutes. I'm backing myself up over here. So thanks for validating the thought of self-sabotage. Yeah, it's this show is going to be about laughing at ourselves, about not judging. You guys don't even know. I'll be sharing over the months that we do the show, the stupid shit that I have done to my body. And hopefully you guys will share too, so we can all laugh at ourselves together, and we can all love ourselves together, because we do need more love in this world. Love heals all. My brand attributes for my company are love, integrity, reliability, and community. Do I fail in doing everything everything with those brand attributes every day, but I try my best to do everything with love, integrity, reliability, and community, because I want to serve, I want to give back, I want to educate, and I want people to learn what they need to do to stop doing stupid shit to their body. So there you go. You guys, thank you so much. Great. I hope this was a great first show. I will be having guests, and I really hope that you guys will tune in. All of my guests, I'm going to try to be about educating you about how to not do stupid shit to your body.
This show is not intended to diagnose, prevent, or treat any diseases or illnesses. The information presented within cannot substitute the advice of your physician or other trained healthcare professionals. The content of this show is for educational purposes only and is the expressed opinion of the show host and guests.